Auntie Carol's running late, so I was trying to wait on her, but we'll see when she pops up. Hopefully, I can add her. Yeah, I should be able to add her when she pops up. So, hey, y'all. Hey, so welcome to the second Bespoke Blazer Live. She about 10 minutes late. Okay, cool. So today we are prepping our pattern. So I actually had this pattern cut out like 2 years ago. So I don't have to prep my pattern. I am gonna check the sleeve pieces to make sure they are big enough. And if I need to make an adjustment, I'll make an adjustment. Can y'all hear that? It was like echoing back to me. Okay. That was weird. That was weird. Sorry. Okay, so I am gonna check my pattern pieces to see if I need to make an adjustment. And if I need to make an adjustment, I will. Dang, it's still doing it. All right. So have is anybody else who's in the Blazer project cutting out their pattern if they have it, cutting out the muslin if you're ready for that step? Let's see. You about to cut yours out. The difference between view A and B is that one is for a contrasting collar. So if you see in A, she has a white collar, and then in view B, everything's the same color. So that's the difference. That's it. I'm trying to see if it's gonna play back the sound. Okay, I think I fixed it. All right. Okay, yeah, that's the difference. Okay, couture ease. Oh, here you go, Auntie Carol. Hey, hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, everybody. We had a little bit of a Unc had a bit of a crisis today. He can't watch TV, so when he can't watch television, that's a crisis.
Oh,
So I had to get him logged into Direct TV while he was yelling and screaming, talking about the service is ridiculous and blah blah blah. I'm like, listen, I got to live. You got to stop complaining and you have to listen. I had to treat him like people at work.
well, you got him sorted out. That's good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, you got to stop complaining. I understand that, the sky's falling right now, but I have a live. A lot of people that are waiting, so you need to settle down and let me take control. That's how I'll be talking to people at work. Settle down.
Let
Let's
me
get it
take
taken
control.
care of so we can both have a good day for the rest of the day. So just let me do this. You don't have to ask any questions. You don't have to say anything. You just have to listen. That's all you got to do, and then we'll both be done. You can hang up, finish your job, bitch to somebody else. So here's my comment before we get started to all you folks that call your IT people and be going off. And I be calling people talking and my staff be calling me talking about the ladies yelling and blah 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 blah. Stop yelling at your IT people. Unfortunately, nobody likes to be wrong, but 9 times out of 10, it's user error. Settle down, let them do their jobs, and then you can continue on with yours. No questions, no explanations. The worst thing is to get non IT folks talking about what happened. Answer the questions. answer the questions, get off the phone. Then when I was washing my clothes, the light flickered, and then my computer just went out. And then, but I didn't touch nothing, but I unplugged the thing, and there was some wires hanging, and I snatched the wires, but then I had to go to do laundry. My arms was wet. That Don't do that. Just be quiet, answer the questions, you're good to go. All right, we are here. Where's my pattern? Everybody, let me tell y'all what we're gonna be doing today. Did you already tell me what we're gonna be doing today, Shamir?
Yeah, I told him that we were cutting out our patterns, prepping them, working on our muslins, and answering questions.
Right. So if you already have your pattern cut, um, and you're confident pretty much with the yeah, he needs his football today. He's in Kansas City. Hey Risha. I'm like, if you're going to the football game, what are you watching on what are you watching? Go to the game. Go sit down in the stadium and wait until they start. What are you watching? Okay, but anyway. So if you have your pattern cut, go ahead and cut your muslin. And when you cut your muslin, you want to cut the full front and the full back. And then if you are concerned about your sleeves, cut out one arm. Only time you need to cut out two arms when you're doing a muslin, is if you have one shoulder that may be sloped, or if you have um, shoulders like you have a like a bump in the back or a broad back. Then we'll know, then when we do the muslin, you'll know if the sleeves are pulling forward, if the sleeves are pulling backward. You'll know which side needs the actual alteration. Um, so what you can do is get your pieces cut. You don't have to cut fabric. You don't have to cut lining. You're only cutting a muslin today if you have your pieces cut out. Hey, cuz, hey, Sabs, if you don't have your pieces cut, me and Shamir are doing that right now. Shamir is frozen. Is Shamir frozen or am I frozen? I can see you, but I see you frozen on my side. So let me make sure that I didn't pick up this bad network. I'm gonna unplug it if it's plugged. Oh no, it's not plugged. Shamir is frozen. Yeah, I hear you. I see you frozen. I was playing frozen. Let me shut my door.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Okay, somebody said they can't hear me.
that's Sam. She all the way on the other side of the world.
She don't count.
Yeah, Sam's don't count. She's in a
The
different
internet
part of
don't
the
reach that far.
hemisphere. She said, "Now you're back." See, it took a second for it to reach the other side of the world. All right, so right now I'm getting my pattern out. Um, I'm trying to think was the last time I did a Vogue pattern. I've gained a few pounds. I think I gained like 1 or 2 pounds since the last time I did a Vogue pattern. So I'm going to remeasure my bust so I can make sure that I cut out the right size. I haven't done a Vogue pattern in a minute, and I know when I do Vogues, and this is just for me, um, what I've noticed is when I do Vogue patterns, um, I can cut the correct size out in the bust, but it seems like everything else is um, not a little bigger, but a little looser. Out of all the big four patterns, the pattern that fits me the best, not out of the big, well, out of the big, is simplicity. Simplicity fits me the best with the least amount of alteration. I just have to do my standard. But Berta fits me almost out of the package. I don't have to do a lot of stuff to Berta at all. Um, oh, this has a lining pattern as well, which is good. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to do a combination size. For the 20, the bust is 47. Hey, Julian, good morning. The
Good
bust is
morning.
47 on the 20, but I want to make sure I have some room to put my jacket on with stuff underneath. Usually, when I wear a double breasted jacket, I keep it closed, but I do have on a bra and sometimes a cami or a tank top underneath. I don't usually put sweaters on underneath my jackets, sweaters or sweatshirts, because I don't like the way it feels underneath my arm, whether the jacket fits or not. So that's just not something that I do. So I'm going to do a quick measurement and you guys can watch if you want. Uh, just for the record, I still haven't found my thimble yet.
Yvette, you're gonna use the full bust measurement. So if you're looking using these are full bust measurements.
Or the finished.
For the envelope. That's what they're judging. This is what that's based on, full bust,
Right.
not high bust.
Right. You're going to use your full bust, not the high bust. And the full bust is the fullest part of the body. Make sure you get all of this area here. That's what we need to get inside the pattern. Now, since I'm wearing a sweatshirt, I'm going to just pull my tape a little tighter just so that it pulls in all this excess fabric. And I usually measure about a 44, sometimes 43. I got on, I guess this is the bad bra I got on today. Trying to keep my tape nice and parallel. I'm pulling through the sweatshirt. And I am at 43 and a half. So I'm at 43 and a half, the fullest part, and that's with a sweatshirt on and a bra. And the padding on my bra is really thin because this is washed up. So a 20 is 47. So I would be good cutting out a 20 because uh, it'll give me 3 inches, which is good because, like I said, under a double breasted jacket, I don't wear shirts underneath. I like to keep them closed just to show the double breast and the actual form. Now, for me, at the waistline, that's where my problem area is, in the waist. So the waist here. And now, when you think about waist, we're talking about the bagginess of a shirt, the top of your pants, if you wear a belt. So you want to make sure that when you have your jacket on, none of that shows through. So you should be kind of skimming the body. So I have the tape horizontal around my body, and This is grabbing one of my secrets. It's there. It's a secret, but it's there. And the waistline for this jacket says 44. So I am at a 42. And that is with my sweatshirt. So this gives me the size 20, gives me 2 extra inches for fill. I'm not worried about my hips because I don't have hips. This one says 51 and a half for hips, and I know my hips are not 51 and a half. Hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back. I just got a package for FedEx. Let me go get the package. I'm cutting the 20. Now I'm going to do a hip measurement. This hip measurement on this particular pattern for a size 20 is 51 and a half. And I'm coming around the hip area, making sure on the side that my tape is parallel to the floor. And I want to make sure I get a little bit of the fufa because I want to make sure that that part is included for when I close my jacket, or the fupa. All right, so I'm around the hips. I got my butt, a full part of the butt, and I also have the fupa in front, so the hips contain a lot. Okay, making sure the tape is parallel to the floor and not like this or like this. Room at the bottom. It may even be an advantage for me if I want to keep everything slim. Instead of the 51 finish, I can taper it down a little bit. Now, I don't want to taper it down too much because in the back of this jacket, there is one vent, which allows the spread, which allows ease for when I sit down. But I want my double breasted jacket to look straight. I don't want it to angle out and hang out here because that just takes away the from the look. And if you look at this here, you can see that it is straighter here. So I'll probably taper in just a bit on the bottom just to kind of peg the bottom. Same way you would narrow a skirt or a dress, you will take just a little bit off of the bottom of the pattern. And I'll show you how to alter the pattern by just pivoting in, and we'll be drawing a line in. And then we're good, or then I'm good. So if that's something that you want to do, you'll be able to watch me do that part. So I am going to, looks like I'll be cutting the 20. So I'm going to also cut the 20 sleeve. I'm not going to do a combo with the 18 because the 18 is not included on this pattern. I don't think. Oh, yes, it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do instead of cutting a 20 sleeve, because I know the 20 sleeve is way too big for me, I'm going to cut an 18 sleeve. So if I'm going to cut an 18 sleeve, that means the arm's eye needs to be brought down to an 18. On this pattern, this just has the 20 and the 24 combo, but I'm going to bring um, everything in the arm's eye and the shoulders. I want to bring in to an 18. I could even, to keep from doing the drafting work, that's even too much. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stay with the 20, make my muslin from the 20. And then from my muslin, I'll tweak my pattern. So I have my starting point. You have to have a starting point of what to cut.
Are you measuring your true waist at the bend or at the belly button? I think it kind of varies for most people, but I measure mine here at the most narrowest place because that's where I hang my pants. But I also
Right.
have a short torso.
Now
Yeah.
I got some secrets here. So I measure my waist at the belly button so I can include my secrets, because I need to make sure that I can close my jacket over this. I don't want it tight around my middle. So I do around the belly button, and that's where the top of, you can see the top of my shorts right here. So it's definitely, like Shamir said, it's up to you if you want to do the high waist at the bend, or if you want to bring it down a bit, because the difference between the two is literally like, I don't know, inch, 2 inches, 2 inches the most. So what usually happens for me is I do a waist alteration because I have a super short torso. So I take an inch off and it brings it up anyway. It brings the waistline on the pattern up anyway. And then another thing that we're going to be doing is, after you get your pieces cut, we're going to draw a chest line on the pattern, and we're going to draw a hip line on the pattern. And we'll be doing that on all of our pattern pieces, and those are for alteration's sake. Okay, so let me get to cutting my pieces.
Okay, so the only thing I did was add an inch to my sleeve. Um, this pattern actually tells you what the sleeve measurement is, and it tells you here at the bicep that is 15 inches. My bicep is 13 and a quarter. So I think that's enough ease. I won't be able to put a sweater on, but I can get it on and wear a thin shirt under it, which is probably how it would be worn. So I'm not gonna open up the bicep on this one. I'm gonna leave it the same.
You're gonna leave the same.
Yeah.
This is Epicolor AB20.
Now the hard part is
Then when you cut out your collar pieces, um, some of you guys will have collar pieces. If you choose a simplicity pattern, you'll have a collar piece. Maybe it may have one piece that says cut two. You may have one collar piece that says cut two. What we're going to do is we're going to cut one collar piece, and we're going to do with the muslin. You can cut one collar piece, and then the second collar piece, we're going to put a bias cut on the pattern piece, a bias grain line, and we're gonna cut that in two pieces. So the under piece, you're gonna be adding a seam allowance. If you are working with a simplicity pattern and you have one collar piece, we're going to turn that into three pieces, two for the under collar, one for the upper collar. For your muslin, you need to cut out that collar because you need to be used to cutting out the collar from one piece. So if you already have a collar that has two pieces, one on the folds, one cut two, you don't need to include that in your muslin. But if you're working with a pattern that has one collar, you need to cut that out. Soon as I get mine cut out, I will show you an example. Under, under, upper, under. Here, I need this one. And remember, I said this, you guys, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this every time we get together. This is not going to be a fast project. I don't want you to feel like you're falling behind or anything. Question: how to alter pattern pieces for length? You're short. Okay, don't go ahead, Yvette. We got to do a muslin first. We don't know how much you need to take up. We don't know how big the arms are. Right now, we're working with the straight pattern. Once we get the pattern cut out and your muslin built, then we'll talk about the alterations that you need to make. Monica, if your arm is only one piece, I prefer that you work with a jacket that has a two-piece sleeve. We need a jacket with a two-piece sleeve. So since these, and if those of you who understand the Franken pattern, um, since these patterns are pretty interchangeable, you should be able to find a jacket with a two-piece sleeve, cut out the sleeves, and it should fit the armhole of simplicity pattern. You have a pattern with a two-piece sleeve. You should have a pattern with a collar and a peak lapel. This is not my size. A pattern with a peak lapel. If you have welt pockets during the construction process, we'll put in the chat um, a reference to a welt pocket tutorial that you can watch online on YouTube. It's a very good one. It's easy to understand, certainly beginner friendly, and then you can carry it on to not only the jacket, but you can use it on pants, a skirt, whatever has a welt pocket. This is the back and the right back. Now, here's something else for these patterns. When you're determining your size, if you say, you know what, the 20 fits me, but I don't have a butt, so the 20 might be real big on my back. These are multi-size patterns. You can cut an 18 back, or with as long as the neckline and the arm's eye match the 20, you can cut the rest of it in an 18. You can combine sizes. You can put a smaller size on the back and a larger size on the front if you need. The only thing you have to do is when you have your neck, your shoulder seam, and your armhole, those need to be the same on the front and the back. From the armhole down, you can choose a different size if you want. That makes sense. So the reason why I brought that up is because I think I'm just going to cut the 20 all the way around. And then I'll see what alterations I need to make. I already know it's going to be too long. So just from making patterns myself, I already know it's going to be too long. So I know I'm gonna have to make a short adjustment, a fit adjustment, but I'm not gonna do that now. I'm gonna forego all of the adjustments I normally make so you guys can kind of watch through the process what I'm gonna be doing to my own pattern. And then that way, if you have questions, um, you can let me know. This is the right back lining. And then if you're cutting your pieces out, keep your lining pieces separate from your fashion fabric pieces. Your lining pieces will also contain whatever facings are included. So if there's any facings, that goes with the lining pile. You'll be making your muslin from the fashion fabric pattern piece. Only 4 buttons? I thought it was more than four. Oh, okay. 4 working buttons, 2 decorative buttons. Okay, I can work with that. Collar, under collar, upper collar. All right, let me get your uh, attention for a second. Here is a upper collar piece. It's the collar that you can actually see. The under collar is the one, of course, which is under. Your upper collar is always one piece. This one is cut on the fold, this particular pattern piece. And what I was saying earlier is if you have a simplicity pattern piece that has a collar that says cut two, one for the upper, one for the under, then what we're going to do is for the second cut, you're going to cut one single cut on the fold. Then for the second one, I would suggest that you take a piece of pattern paper and trace this out, trace out your size. And then what you're going to do is you're going to eliminate the fold line or the extra, you're going to add seam allowance. So here's an undercollar that's asking for 2 pieces. So if you have one that says one cut on the fold, what you're going to do is you're going to trace that pattern piece, cut it out completely, and then you're going to add 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to the side. And so now we'll be able to cut it in 2 separate pieces, and you'll have your seam allowance because you added 5/8 of an inch on the edge. And then you're going to put just right on there, cut two. And for your grain line, you're going to have a grain line that's parallel, that's supposed to run with the fabric. We're going to go on an angle and we're going to do a 45-degree grain line. If you have a big mat, if you look on the big mat that you get from Anna's Big Mat, they have 45-degree markings. If you have a quilting mat, there's a 45-degree marking. If you're not sure what the angle is, all you do is you take your grain line, lay it on one of the straight lines on the grid, and you'll see the angled line running through. All you got to do is put your ruler right there on that angled line and then draw it. And then you'll have your bias grain line on your undercollar piece. So if you have the simplicity pattern with one piece, you're going to make an undercollar on the bias. You're going to make yourself an undercollar pattern piece. And then keep that with your jacket. So you'll always have it. the other sizes. And if you look at your pattern pieces, on the front pattern piece, you'll see your finished garment measurement markings. On the little coda, a coda is a circle with the plus sign in it. That's where those markings are. You can use those. If you want to go a step further, take a note from Shishi, and you can measure your pattern from seam allowance to seam allowance. From seam allowance to seam allowance. That's what you can do. Measure your pattern from seam allowance to seam allowance. So what you would need to do is go on to the pattern, measure in 5/8 of an inch, make yourself a mark or dotted line to represent your seam allowance. And then from seam allowance to seam allowance, you can measure across the pattern pieces. Then you'll know exactly how it's going to fit you when you actually sew it together. Okay. And if you want to do it that way, what you're going to do is from seam allowance to seam allowance on the main point markings of your pattern piece on your fashion fabric. That's where you want to draw your lines. But we're going to be drawing lines. We're going to draw a chest line, we're going to draw a waistline, and we're going to draw a hip line on our pattern pieces. BSN sent our money. BSN sent our money. Thank you, BSN.
Thank you.
I'm just like all over the place here. Under collar, upper collar, and my pocket 20. Another thing I do to kind of keep order is after I get stuff cut, I usually put it back in the envelope, the stuff that I don't need, because these patterns have all kind of sizes, and it looks a lot more convoluted than it is because you still have all these other pieces for these other sizes. Another thing that you can do is on your pattern map, on your instructions, you can, as you get pieces marked off, this is what I used to do when I was a beginner, and it taught me how to stay organized. Once I got the piece cut that I needed, I would find my size layout. And in this case, I'm doing the 20. So my size layout, 45, 45, all sizes, A, B, all sizes. Every time I got a pattern piece cut, I would check it off the list. I would just put a little check mark on it, a little check mark, or like just like a little line. And then I know once I get all my pieces that I'm supposed to do, I'll check and see if there is a lining. If there's a lining, then I'll go to the jacket lining, and then I would check off all the pieces. Anything else that's not cut, I would go ahead and get rid of that right away. So what that does is that kind of calms the piece pirate in us. All these pieces, it just kind of calms the nerves to let you know, all right, I have what I need. All the rest of the stuff is just extra paper. So I'm looking at this. I even see several. I see a lining pocket, the small pieces, the lining, the collar, the pocket. I mean the under collar, upper collar, pocket. I keep these all in one little stack because they're small. There's a flap here. I don't want to lose those. So I keep all the small pattern pieces together. Again, this is just some organizational stuff that I do to keep things organized, to keep the process understandable. I got to get my fabric out. I haven't even gotten my fabric out. I do know what I'm going to use though.
If you're doing a sleeve for your muslin, Pay attention to your grain lines because on a one-piece sleeve, it's usually just straight. On a two-piece sleeve, one of them is a slight angle, and it makes a difference in how your sleeve sits because 'cause it'll start to twirl around your arm if it's not in the right direction. So pay attention
Exactly.
to that when you're cutting your two-piece sleeve.
If you have a question about grain line, and you're not sure about grain line, on my TikTok feed, I have a video that covers grain lines, and it explains how they are on the fabric, and why they are so important. So when we do this kind of jacket, anything, I don't care if you're making pajamas or sweatpants. You don't just slap the pattern down on the fabric and try and cut it out, because you'll have all kind of problems. Like Shamir said, whenever you have anything that has a little bit of a curve, what's happening is it's asking for a bias cut piece of fabric. So if you just kind of lay it out on the fabric and you're not paying attention to the straight grain or the grain on the pattern against the grain on the fabric, bias has a tendency to shift with the body. And so you'll have a very uncomfortable sleeve that wants to travel, because it's following the weave of the fabric. And that's really uncomfortable. Under our sleeve, upper sleeve lining, and upper sleeve 20. Lining. If have your tape ready, if you make a mistake, you can go ahead and tape. If you have some of that tape that's like is an easy peel, then that's good to do. Oh, wait a minute. This is the size 24 that I boo-booed on, so I don't have to worry about that. Keep your tape handy in case you make some cutting mistakes. You can just tape it back. Okay, so Eve, what you need to do if you're between sizes, what you need to do is you need to pick the size that fits your bust. If you pick the size that fits your bust, when we do the muslin, I'll show you what we're going to learn is how to fit the jacket for the rest of your body. And the reason why you want to fit the bust is because we want to make sure that the jacket closes. If the arms are too long, the hips are too big, we'll make those alterations as we go forward. So that will help you with the cutting. If you are a person that is an apple bottom or an extreme hourglass with a tiny waist, you can cut combined sizes. These allow you to cut combined sizes. If you are smaller in the hips and larger in the bust, you can come down and cut. Maybe you'll cut the 16 in the hip, but for the bust, you'll come out, grade out to the 18 or the 20. Okay, Yvette's question. On the fabric, how to prepare wool, i.e. shrinking, and what fiber for lining. The book has it all. I'm confused. Also, how much to buy. Okay, so here's what you need to do. We're going to be using 5/8 seam allowances because we're using a pattern. We're not going to use 1 inch seam allowances. In the book, they are doing tailoring from scratch. We're doing it with a pattern. So you can minus the 1 inch seam allowances. For the prepping or the shrinking of wool, what you can do if you just bought some wool, take towels from the bathroom. Get some dirty towels, wash the dirty towels. After the cycle is complete, you can take two towels and you can put them in the dryer along with your piece of wool. Turn that on a medium temperature and let it spin for like 20 minutes. What's going to happen is the steam from the towels drying is going to clean and refresh your wool. The only thing that you need to do is you need to check the lint trap on a pretty regular basis because the lint trap fills up depending on the type of wool that you're treating. And then after those towels are dry, after 20 minutes, when you take that wool out, it'll be refreshed. May have a small amount of shrinkage, but that will be fine. All right, so that's how you prepare your wool for shrinkage and before we use it. What is the fiber for the lining? You can use any kind of polyester. You can use rayon. You can put anything inside the lining, whatever is comfortable for you. The only thing that I said is I usually don't do wild prints or anything that's going to show through. But you want something kind of sleek, kind of shiny, nothing thin. We don't want you to use costume satin. That's not a good product. Um, Bimberg rayon is okay. It's a little bit flimsy. If you are a beginner sewer or advanced beginner, I don't recommend that you use Bimberg because it's a flimsy fabric. So use something polyester. It's a little thicker, a little easier to control. It's going to be a little slippery, but we can put pins in it and cut it in a single layer in order to work. Does that answer your question, Yvette? Yes, she said great. Thanks. What if we don't have a dryer? Then just hang it to dry, Sabs. Oh, if you don't have a dryer. To treat your wool, Sabs, if you don't have a dryer, what you can do is to clean it. All you got to do is you can take a cheap vodka and you can spray it and that kind of wets it up a little bit and just hang it outside. You can hang it outside or just hang it somewhere in the house and let it dry, and you'll be fine. Wool is a natural fiber. So when we get done making these jackets, you only need to dry clean it once a year, twice if you're going to be wearing it every day. I don't know nobody that wears something every day. But if you just hang it up, um, in the bathroom when you take a shower, and the steam from the shower will refresh the wool. That's all you got to do. Sometimes I'll hang mine in the bathroom area, get a shower, let the bathroom steam it out, and then once the bathroom dries out, the wetness in the bathroom kind of goes away. Then I take my jacket down and I'll put it back in the closet. Wool just needs a little bit of steam. If you have a steamer, you can steam it, and then that's all you need. So those are some easy ways to refresh wool. You can steam it in the shower. If you have a steamer, you can use a steamer. You can hang it outside on a sunny day. Um, yeah, or just hang it inside for a couple days, like 2 days. And if you have your lining, just take a damp cloth, wipe under the arms, wipe the neckline, and then let it hang. For me, one. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Lala Bell must be Brooklyn. Brooklyn, don't do that. Oh my goodness gracious. Gracious goodness. upper sleeve, one frame. You be like, you're not gonna get past 4 sprays. You're gonna wake up. When you wake up, you're gonna wonder, did I finish this? Then you're gonna start all over again. That's not good. Cut to 1826. Oh my goodness. Upper sleeve AB, upper sleeve 22. This pattern got about 85 mean sleeves. Hey, friend. My pretty friend. And Brooklyn Timmy, when you get ready to use your vodka spray, don't be using the Grey Goose on your jacket, okay? I got to clean my wool with premium vodka because your wool ain't gonna get cleaned. You'll be cleaned. These pieces look longer than a mug. I already know I'm gonna be cutting about 85,000 pieces off of here. These upper sleeve A 20 and upper sleeve lining. Wonderful. I haven't seen the undersleeve yet. I've seen the side piece and the undersleeve. Okay, I just found my undersleeve. Undersleeve. So look at your undersleeve. If you're doing the Vogue 1927, this one is the pattern piece, and it's also the lining. So on the bottom, you're going to always see an extra line that says cut here for the lining. When we do these jackets, and whenever you do any jacket, the lining is usually always an inch shorter than the actual jacket itself. So when you have lining pattern pieces, they do that for you. If you don't have a lining pattern piece, or you are creating a lining for a garment on your own, after you get it situated and cut out and size, then the last thing I do is I'll go to the bottom of the pattern or and just get rid of an inch, or the bottom of the fabric. Once I have it all cut out, then I just minus an inch on the bottom. And I do all of those preps. Those are prep moves. I do all of that before I sit down and start construction of any jacket, because you don't want to be making the jacket and be like, oh man, I forgot to cut it an inch. Oh, I'm gonna do it later, because you'll forget, and then everything will be off. So we're gonna do all the prepping and everything that we need to do before we get started sewing. Now I think after we get the patterns cut out, Shamir, when we do our next session,
Mhm.
we can do our next session on a Zoom call, because we'll have people actively working on muslins. And on muslin time, listen to me, folks. When we start doing muslins, I don't want to hear my hair ain't right. I don't have my makeup on. If you want help from me, you need to be ready. Bring your muslin. I want to see you on camera. I want to tell you what the problem is, or we need to have dialogue. Let's have some dialogue about where I made a change here. here's the problem. I don't want to come on camera because I this, that, and the other. If you want to feel that way, you're more than welcome to, but I can't help you if I can't see it. All right. So please, 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 when we have these Zooms and I need to see you, be ready. Cause I don't have time to be getting over nobody.
That's awesome.
Y'all got it? Good.
Got it.
Be ready. If you feel like you need to be on camera and you need to be glamorous, then put your makeup on before you get to the class. But if I say, let me see what you're talking about, clean up the area where you're going to be at and be ready.
Okay.
Because we're not trying to help you 3 weeks in a row. We're going to help you when you need your help. So be ready. Please be ready.
Okay. All right. I think my sleeve is gonna work. I think my pattern is gonna match. Look at your girl.
So give everybody a look. Explain what you had to do. What the changes that you may have made on your sleeve.
Um, so for my sleeve, the first thing I did was I marked my seam allowance on my pattern piece and I matched them up to measure across. And then I cross-referenced that with what's on the pattern piece. And I decided that I didn't need any more ease in my sleeve because I wanted my sleeves to be slim. I just don't want them to be tight. I don't plan on wearing like bulky sweaters. It's not a coat, it's a jacket for me. So I like the slimmer look. I just don't like it tight, which is a hard balance for me sometimes because I have the bigger biceps. So, anyways, I decided it was fine. I did need a little length. Now this has an inch and a half hem on it. So I took that into consideration. And I like my hem to fall right below my little bone here. I like it to cover the watch, if that makes sense. So I don't wear jewelry. I don't want my cuffs hanging out. So I like my sleeve about here. Whether that's
And
proper
put the
or not,
sleeve,
I'm not
put
sure.
it back on. Uh,
So here's my sleeve here, and it's a little long, about an inch and a half.
at how you like your sleeve.
Yeah, about right there. So I like my sleeve. So here
Okay.
it'll be a
So
little.
you guys can see from the alterations that she talked about, see how her sleeve has some bagginess in the elbow area. What that is the go ahead and bend your arm. That's the extra ease that she likes. But when she has her arm extended out, you can see that it's a slim fitting arm. Okay. The natural curve that's in the arm is built going to fit you.
Yes. And then this one does have a vent in the sleeve. So it'll get more narrow at the thing than it kind of looks just hanging in this muslin. And it also is lined. So when you put the lining in, that also takes up some of the space in your sleeve. So you don't want it to be so tight that once you put the lining in, now it's too tight. You want to have a little wiggle room in the sleeve because you do have to put the lining in, which is going to make it even tighter. So, anyways, I think it
Am
works.
I still frozen? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear
Am I
you.
frozen? You can hear me. Am I frozen for you?
No, you're moving for me.
Okay. Then you guys that see me frozen, just wait a few minutes. It'll kind of go over.
Oh,
Repeat what I
what's
said.
that? Repeat about the sleeve curve. I think.
So what I'm saying for Shamir's sleeve, she has made her sleeve alteration. So she likes a slimmer sleeve. So she likes a slimmer sleeve, but when she curls her arm, you can see the wrinkling and the extra ease that she has. But when she outstretches it, she has a nice slim looking sleeve. And then at the wrist, she likes her sleeves right here at the wrist. So when she does the finishing and turns in the hem, her sleeve will be right where it needs to be done. These are things that are done on the pattern piece before you cut out your fashion fabric. So once we get the fashion fabric ready and we start constructing, if there's something a little wrong, we can make the hem a little bit bigger. There's only small tweaking that we need to do. Can I see your sleeve cap again up close? They want to take your pattern piece and move it a little closer.
My sleeve cap? I didn't alter my sleeve cap. Who's
She
asking?
didn't alter
Latoya?
the cap. She altered near where the elbow is.
Latoya, I can pull out a pattern where I did alter so you can see what it looks like. Give me a second.
Did you guys hear my second explanation? Let me know when I repeated what we were doing for Shamir. Thank you. Is that a yes? Okay, perfect. Thanks, Risha. Thanks, Brooklyn.
As you can see, I am a PDF girl. Let's see. So one pattern that I always have to make, one brand that I always have to make alterations for the sleeve, even if it's a knit sleeve, is Vicky Sews. For some reason, she drafts for really thin arms. I wish I had those, but I don't. So I always have to. For simplicity brand overall, if it's a size 16, I don't usually alter it. If I'm making a 14, I usually have to add maybe a half an inch or something. So this one I cut into 16, so I didn't have to do it. It worked out for me. Let me find Fernanda. This is those Oprah. What is that? This Edwina. Oh, I got Edwina.
Okay, I got all my pieces cut. They're not cut out, but they're cut and ready for me to tailor them out. I don't trace my pattern pieces. I just cut my pieces because I only sew for myself. And here's something that I need you guys to do. We need to iron those pattern pieces. Once you get size, everything cut to your size, we need those pattern pieces ironed. If you don't normally iron pattern pieces, guess what? This is something new that you're gonna do. Even the packets, the flaps, because we're not gonna be doing a whole lot with these until we get ready to cut. You can press these and you can set them aside.
Okay, so here's one. Um, Latoya. So here's the original. And you can see like the difference between this sleeve and the simplicity upper sleeve is quite different. Right. There's at least an inch difference in that one piece. But remember, it's gonna be the same in the undersleeve as well. So it's a lot smaller than this. So I always have to alter these. These are way too narrow for me. So here's my altered sleeve. I did trace this one because this was my first time ever doing it. Actually, me and Auntie Carol did this one together. And so I traced it just in case I had to go back and do it again.
She
I
was going, Auntie Carol, that it? Are you sure?
so I added
That
two
gonna work.
inches of length. So we added our 2 inches here because that's where my cut line was for the simplicity pattern. They had it down here. This doesn't have a vent either. So you kind of play a little around with that. But what we did is we did a cut and slash. So we found the center is usually a dot on a simplicity pattern. We made a
Mhm.
slash down and then we found a cross, which is where your bicep would be here. I don't
Right.
know how much we measured down, but here is the cross where we cut it here. And then we just spread it open. We looked at it. We said, how much ease is it supposed to have? And I think for this pattern, it's like 2.5 inches of ease is supposed to be in your jacket. And then we measured my arm, which was 13 inches at the time. And we said, how much space do we need? I think this pattern was literally 13 inches
I think it was
before
like right
the,
on the money. Yeah.
yeah, it was like literally the size of my arm. And I could not get my arm in there. Well, I got it in there, but it felt like I was wearing a tight t-shirt.
Right.
So we didn't add 2.5. Let's see, what did we add? I think we added 1.5 inches,
I think we
maybe.
added an inch. I think it was an inch we added.
Looks like we added 1.25 inches.
Inch
We
and a
added
quarter.
an inch and a quarter. Yes. We added 1.25 inches, and we just spread it. So I don't know if you can see it's like a triangle. So it's really narrow here. We didn't change the shape of the cap because we wanted to make sure it still fit in there. So we put a pivot here and then a pivot in the sides, and we just spread it open till we got our 1.25 inches, and then we taped it in place, and then we went in and added the length. And it split all the way down the sleeve, but it never cut at the bottom. So the cuff or the hem stays the same, but you get this extra space all throughout your jacket. And then I
And it
had the
puts the
beautiful
most
sleeve.
right, and it puts the most space in the area that you need it. And then if you have, then what happens is the extra space that's in there allows for your arm or anything else. So
If
when
your
you
arm
make an
tapers.
alteration, yeah, when you have like the darting and the triangles, it allows extra space. Although you have maybe a larger bicep, it'll add a little extra space in the arm in general. So if you have a larger bicep, then it adds a little arm room as well. Not as much as the part that's needed, but there is some extra adding that happens there.
This is the easiest way. I've seen it where they alter both pattern pieces, but I don't recommend that unless you need a lot of space.
Right.
So
If
I
you're
wouldn't do
way
that.
exactly, where you can alter both pieces, the under and the upper. And usually, like Shamir just said, unless you need a lot of space and it's uncomfortable, then we alter both pieces.
And so here you can see the difference between the original piece and my piece that I use here. So
Hmm.
it's pretty easy. We can walk through it on the live. If you do your muslin and you find it's a little tight, we could that's an easy one I think that we can do on our Zoom call
Okay.
to show you how to
And
do
once you understand the concept of alteration of the pattern, once you understand the concept, I try and explain it to make it as simple as possible. Um, you know when you come with a clear head, and then I explain this is why you make the alteration here, here, here. Then it'll be once you'll be get it, you'll get comfortable and you'll be able to do it whenever you need it. Yeah, go ahead, Latoya. This is a Q&A session, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put questions on there. Go ahead and ask us. That's not a problem. I'm pressing out my pattern pieces now because I'm getting ready to cut them. The reason why we want to press out the pattern pieces is we don't want these extra divvies and folds because they add up to fabric. So here's a fold here. It's actually creased, and this crease is probably about 1/8 of an inch. So we don't want to lose inches when we start cutting out fashion fabric. So keep your pattern pieces ironed. If you can, keep them stored laying flat somewhere, or if you have pattern hangers. I have a pattern hanger. If you have a pattern hanger, punch a hole in it and then just hang the pattern up, so then that way you don't have to worry about it getting wrinkled or torn, and you don't have to keep ironing it.
Yes,
I
you
get
should transfer all your markings.
Yes, on your muslin, you definitely want to. And then on your muslin, if you want to transfer your markings, you can transfer them using a Sharpie so that they're there permanently and you can see them. We're not going to start using Tailor tacks or chalk or anything until we start with the fabric. Yes, put the darts on your muslin.
Yeah, you want to do your darts because that
Yes.
helps with the fit. Is your phone okay? Yeah, you can use your phone.
And make sure that when you do your darts, uh, any kind of sewing that you're going to be doing with your muslin needs to be basting. Don't do permanent seams. You can backstitch at the beginning, backstitch at the end, but make sure we have the big giant basting stitches. Yes, you do need the side panel because we need to connect the front and the back. So if you have a side panel, yeah, you need to cut that too. This Vogue pattern has a side panel or
Uh-huh.
side piece. This Vogue pattern got a side piece. The Sheikah pattern got a side piece. So, Yvette, I'm very familiar with the Jessica pattern. Could I have just kept the sleeve cap at an XXL and used the triple X sleeve versus the bicep adjustment? Well, you could do that, Jana, but what happens is if you cut the size that fits your arm's eye, right? And you go up a size, remember everything goes up a size. The wrist goes up a size, here goes up a size, the elbow goes up a size, and then the bicep. If you fit your arm's eye and your arm and your wrist, we can make an adjustment, one adjustment here so your bicep fits. See what I'm saying? So everybody, when you're doing sizing, going up a size does not solve the problem. What the problem is some parts don't fit, but other parts do. Alterations take advantage of, okay, well, one part doesn't fit. Let's fix that one part instead of, let me just size up. Now, when you size up, one part fits, everything else doesn't work. Okay. So use the size that fits the majority. And then we alter here. And now we fit everything.
Yes, and I don't want you guys to get confused because I said 14 versus 16 in a Vogue pattern. I always cut a 16. Generally speaking, that's what goes closest to my measurements. But
Hmm.
some patterns I cut 14. Like my No Me pattern, I use a 14, but I do the bicep adjustment, if that makes sense. So I
Right.
always do a 16 in a Vogue. So I didn't just size up. That is my size. But it just happens to work for my shoulder. I mean, for my bicep.
Right. So now, if the size up, if you go up a size and everything fits, then initially you cut the wrong size and you needed a larger size. But now you guys can see Latoya's response just confirmed what I said. It's already too big at the wrist. The forearm is too big, but now her bicep fits, but now everything else is too big. So let's go back to the smaller size where everything fits. We can adjust the one bicep. Okay. So the this is why some of the patterns have an upper bust measurement and a lower bust measurement. And what happens, what they're doing, and this is just a sidebar explanation. When you take the upper bust measurement, the upper bust includes your neck, your shoulder, your arm's eye, and then it considers that it's assuming that your bust is going to be too small for the pattern. So they say, follow your upper bust measurement. We can get everything in the jacket, but your bust probably won't fit. So you got to do a full bust adjustment. And that means we're making it so that the bust is included. And now everything fits: the neck, the shoulders, the arms, eye, and the bust, because we had to adjust it to fit the bust. So going up a size is not always the answer, because when you go up a size, you may get that one piece in there, but then everything else is too big. So stay at the size that fits everything else, and let's adjust what doesn't fit. That makes sense? Give me some symbol or something. Give me a heart symbol or a diamond symbol, just so I know that that makes
Mhm.
sense to everybody.
That's not really good. And Auntie Kara, I can stay on till about 1:30 today,
Okay,
if that works for you. I mean, earlier is fine, but 1:30 at the latest.
that's fine. We can go to 1:30. That's 12:30 for me. So that's about maybe roughly a little bit more than an hour. I'm good with that. Awesome. Cindy, you got your notebook out?
Black Sewing Network is selling notebooks on the website. Great for this project. And remember to log your time. So even prep time, I would log it so you know how long it to cut a pattern, do the muslin, make the adjustments.
Right. Get
Log
your
your time.
notebook out and make notes for what we're doing today and what we're talking about. So get your notebook out. How much time do we spend on the live? We're on the live 2 hours. Talked about muslin. Talked about, because with this will keep you from forget. This will keep you from about forgetting about what are we talking about at the. I gotta go watch that whole video again. Make yourself make yourself some notes, and then the video is here in case you want to come back and watch, and you want to come back and watch, right? And put in that notebook, earn your pattern.
And I think what I'll also do is after we have our alterations Zoom call or whatever, is
Mhm.
I'll get with Auntie Karen. We can find some reference videos online on YouTube that are quicker so that you don't have to necessarily spend 2, 3 hours through the Zoom trying to figure out how to do the bicep adjustment if you missed it. That's on
That's a
par
good
with
idea.
the way Auntie Carol did it. And I'll just create like a reference list in our Google Drive and
Okay.
then we'll just keep a running list as things come up, like so shorter, like 10-minute videos that are comparable.
Right, that targets the process and everything, because
Yeah.
there's a few places out on YouTube that I reference all the time. I don't be jumping around from person to person to person to person. There's some people that I watch on a regular basis if I have a question, if I think about something. And then I found out the man that I studied under for tailoring, he's on YouTube now too. So um, I will tell you guys about him as well. Mr. Styles.
Just
That man can
styles.
eyeball an eighth of an inch across the room with glasses on his nose. He knew when you was up to no good, because like I think he noticed, whenever you get ready to do something, they say are actions speak a whole lot louder than words. When you get ready to
Mhm.
do something you ain't supposed to do, what's the first thing you do subconsciously is you look around and see if anybody's looking.
Exactly. Start looking around.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I don't know how many times I would just be like, and the minute I would look around, he would be like this.
what you finna do?
I'm like, damn it, why is he looking at me? Because he caught me doing the side eye. He could see, and when you teach class after class after class, those are things that you notice.
Yeah, you pick up.
And I know from when I'm teaching, or even at work, when I've taught classes at work, when I see people like looking up at the ceiling, and I'm like, okay, I got somebody that doesn't get it. They don't. And the minute somebody doesn't get it, if you're an adult, you literally you check out. looking up
Check
at the
out, yeah.
ceiling, people biting their nails. There's all kind of like telltale signs when people don't understand. But man, he used to be like, and would catch me every time. I'd be like, dang, you couldn't even try and look on the sly, like scratch your head and look to see. He'd be looking right at you like,
Let's see, no, you mischievous.
he knew that I see when I went to tailoring class. I was like quite a few people that I saw on social media, and this is why I call everybody out. I had the big head. I had been sewing for 6 years, and I thought I knew everything. I had my own business. You couldn't tell me nothing about sewing. I knew it all. And he was like, "Sit down and sew on this piece of paper." I'm like, "Me? I've been sewing for." He said, "You don't move forward unless you complete this paper exercise, and I'm satisfied with it." I said,
Ooh.
"Well, damn." Okay, well, give me the paper. And when it came to that one that was the continuous spiral, I was literally, it took me 2 sessions to get that right.
Mm-mm.
I was like, what is the trick? What do I need to do? He said, you'll figure it out. And he walked away.
I'll be
He
like,
knew, he knew I
I'm a
was
hand
there.
stitch it.
That man beat the cocky right out of me. He beat it out of me. I'm
He
like,
said, "You figure it out."
you'll figure it out. And what I figured out was all I had to do was slow down. He didn't say it had to be done in a minute. And he didn't say how long. All I did was when I slowed down, I was able to manipulate and I took my time. And I
Yeah.
said, "Look," he said, "you finally slowed down." I said, "Yeah, yeah." That class was very humbling. The beginning was very humbling. And then after I got off of my soapbox and stopped acting like I was the shit, I realized that I wasn't the shit and the work that I was doing was shit. So
Ooh.
I'm like, right. So I'm like, okay, let me learn from this guy. I heard him say Armani, and I was like, oh, I got the good guy. But I didn't hear nothing else. I went in there with a big head. Now I already know what I know that. I know how to do that. I know how to do that. He was like, you may know how to do it, but you don't know how to do it my way. This is my class. So yeah, I was like, okay, all righty.
I feel like I should just face this by hand.
I was like, where's the patterns? What patterns are we gonna be using? What can I bring? He looked at me with the glasses on the tip of his nose. She's like, we're not using patterns here. I said, okay, let me just shut up and let
He
me just
heard
stop.
you.
That was back when Walwack used to be a store here. And we
I
used to
didn't
be
know
able to
that.
go to the store. A Walwack was a store. And then they shut it down. They closed the brick and mortar that they had and started doing the online stuff.
Was he one of those people who could just start drawing a blazer on top of the fabric with the chalk?
Yeah.
Y'all got no measurements or nothing. You just gonna start drawing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we did skirts. He taught us how to do skirts with measurements and how to draw on the fabric with
Hmm.
points. And that's how I learned how to draft. The first project I did was a skirt. I have some and that was literally drawing it on the fabric and you know drafting it on the actual fabric with your measurements and stuff. I think I need to, well, I'll just go ahead and finish ironing. I done started, I might as well go ahead and finish it.
I never made a blazer, so probably ask a lot of questions. That's cool. That's what we're here for.
Oh yeah.
This is my forever learner. Even though I teach some things, it's still new and other things. I really appreciate space. Yay. Yeah. Piece this together.
If you never iron your patterns, don't use steam. Believe it or not, some people use steam. I used steam the first time. And that's when the paper used to be kind of a little heavier. The
Yeah.
pattern paper used to be a little heavier, and I did steam once, and I was like, "Ooh!" Paper was like, "Stop it!"
It
Ooh,
starts to curl up. I be using
yeah.
steam, I ain't gonna hold you, but it do curl up.
And so I had to re-iron the piece, and I was like, "Well, I ain't with this." So after I get my pieces pressed out, I'm gonna separate the lining pieces with the regular pieces. Then I can actually start cutting them out. I haven't been to. I drove by the Salvation Army not too long ago. Maybe about like during the week. Me and Keith were together. I told Keith, I said, I haven't been in there in ages. We used to go. Me and Casey used to go all the time because he liked to go to the Salvation Army, and he used to like to find games because he had an
Mhm.
old PS2, and he was like, you can't get these, you can't get these games anymore at the store. So we used to go so he could find games for his old system, and then I would just kind of go in and see what I can find, blue jeans or whatever. But I would look for bed sheets, toppers for muslin and things like that. But the last time I went, I got like three top sheets, but since used all of that up. And I like to use top sheets for muslin. So I need to get in there today. I think I'm gonna go today and get myself two twin sheets because I told you I had a vigorous jacket schedule for until February. So I need some
Yeah.
anyway.
Good luck with
It's
that.
a shame we don't have a local classes anymore. I remember when Cloth World used to have them weekly and you could ask the instructor questions. And they took everything out of the schools and out of the this. You can find, I think at our local college, we have a community college called Prairie State. I think they have classes at Prairie State. I remember when I first moved out in this area, I was looking to teach some sewing classes to the community. But then I started working, and I'm like, nah, I won't. I'll just stay with my part-time job, and then I was doing my sewing business pretty much full time. So when I saw about how much time they required, I was like in the thick of my business. I had a decent client base. I didn't want to just stop, so I was like, eh. But I don't know if they still do it now. Teaching adults is a lot different than teaching kids. Kids are fearless because they're not worried about how much something costs. They just want to do it. They don't care if they break it. They just want to have at it. Cuz you working? Are you still here? You don't have to work today? My cousin is online, you guys. She's taking the class with us. She's doing so
Okay.
good. Her name is Miranda. Cuz you out there? Cuz I'm calling you out. Where are you?
She's like, don't embarrass me.
And that's she be saying, cuz don't say that to me. I'm still learning. Yeah, there she is. She's still here. Cuz you're not working today? You off today? Okay. Um, before they stop selling patterns.
Yeah, I went Friday and got a few of them macaws for 99 cents.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to get a thimble here.
I gotta find my thimble. It's around here somewhere, and I like it. That's why. Otherwise, I'd get another one.
Mhm.
But I like the one that I have.
Shit.
I just gotta find it. Listen, I lost my ham for a few too. Well, I found my ham, so I know my thimble is around here somewhere. It might even be in. You know what? Now that I think about it, when I went to the sorority retreat, I took my thimble with me, and Carmen gave away um, bag kits to make bags.
Hmm.
And so the kit, her bag kit is what I use now in my travel sewing machine. All of my travel stuff is in that bag inside the big bag that holds my machine. That's
That's what your thimble is. Um, People might have been on your
it's in
lives,
that
but do
travel
you want to
bag.
talk about the canvas and how you don't recommend the cotton canvas anymore? I'm gonna go in and change it on the
Oh
materials list,
yeah,
but
yeah. That's a great point. Great point. All right, so on the materials list, you guys, um the last live we had last week, I said I was going to do a experiment with using 100% cotton canvas versus using hair canvas because the hair canvas was expensive. So I did a little bit of research and went out to some pro pages and asked, I even asked AI, and the result was do not use cotton canvas um, in place of hair canvas. And I have it here so I can actually show you guys why it's not a good idea. And I totally understood. Oh, here it is. Totally understood why it's not a good idea. I'm going to cut a small piece. And I've already washed this and I already washed it and surged it. So I can't take it back. That's all right.
Brooklyn sent me said, "Where did you get your travel bag for your sewing machine?"
At the hardware store.
Oh yeah,
It's a tool bag. What's this the hardware store?
Harbor Freight.
Harbor Freight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Side note: I saw zip ties at the Dollar Tree. I started to get them because I know you guys use that for your corsets, but I said, nah, the things was stiff.
Yeah. here's my here's my bag here. It's a Bauer, and this is a tool bag. It's a regular tool bag. stuff, for drills and stuff. But what I like about this Bower bag is the inside is hard. So the inside is like rock hard. So I can set my sewing machine right in it and not worry about it. With regular sewing totes, they're pretty, but they're kind of soft. The outsides are kind of soft. That one is hard on the inside. Good tracing paper. Anybody want to answer that? Good tracing paper. And then where's my hair canvas?
I don't know. Trial and error.
I just used the regular tracing paper. You can order it online. They might have tracing paper at Michael's now since they've taken on some of the, like the little tools and stuff we need. All right, here's what I was talking about. The regular. This is regular canvas. I'm gonna try and get close up on the screen so you can actually see the weave. There it is. Everybody see the weave on the canvas. The canvas weave is even on the north, south, and the east and west. So let me just show you here. North, south, and east. Or west. You can see my little north, south, east, and west. The weave is the same. Come on now. Focus. Let me focus on you. A piece of the hair. Then on the north and south, we just have the straight grain, which is softer. So we have an uneven balance here. So the heaviness is going to be going around the body where we need it, but we are still getting the structure from the natural grain of the fabric. So we have an uneven weave on the fabric. The north and south, which is the vertical grain, is lighter, which takes away bulk, makes the jacket not so heavy, or it takes away the heavy, but it gives us the structure going this way that we actually need. Piece of canvas is the same all the way around. So it'll be heavy going north, south, and east, west. And in order to add a little bit more structure to this, you would have to interface it, which will make it even more bulky, more heavy. This is thinner. This is thicker. Regular 100% cotton canvas is thicker. This is actually equivalent to like a heavyweight Hymo, and we're not going to need a heavyweight hair canvas. So if you have lightweight or medium weight hair canvas, you should be good. You don't need heavyweight canvas. And especially if you're in a warm climate, you can go with lightweight. Even if your fabric is wool or a gabardine, you can use a lightweight. I have a gabardine fabric. My hair canvas was a little bit more because mine is wider. Mine is like 66 inches wide, which is larger than the average. So I'll be able to get several jackets out of this one piece. I only got a yard because from here to here on me is literally about 15 to 17 inches is the longest, and this is how big the piece is going to be. It's not going to be big. So bite the bullet. Save the, if you bought the 100% cotton canvas, save it for a bag, a tote bag, and go ahead and get the. And Brooklyn, don't you live in New York? You better go
She
down
lives in
to
Florida. She's in Florida.
Oh, I thought she was in New York. Man,
Chris,
um,
I'm gonna go warm my coffee.
check Michael's, Timmy. Check Michael's. They may have tracing paper. And to me, the kind that you buy that's folded in half, this is fine. This is just that general tracing paper. When you know it's good is when it gets on your hands, then it's fresh. Mine is a little older, but it does the job. This is like old, but it does the job. If you want larger pieces, then you can go on the Wall Whack, and Wall Whack has the larger pieces of tracing paper. And I like my tracing paper to be chalk based. I've used wax based chalk paper or wax based tracing paper, and that's hard to get out. And so after I had that problem, I never invested in that again.
Did you see Yvette's question
I don't know. I don't think so. What's
about
the question?
blick rolls?
About what rolls?
She says, I use blick rolls. They are right to I am size. I don't know. Here, there's another question. Oh, here goes. How much extra frantic? I think she means fabric. Should I buy? My finished garment hip is 55 with a 4-inch easy design. My hips are 63, so I'd have to make the adjustment plus probably biceps. Yvette, which pattern are you using? I would look at my pattern and I would see for the largest part of my body, which would be your hips, how much fabric does it need for that? And if it's not on there, I'd add an extra half of a yard to a yard.
Yeah, extra half a yard is more than enough. If you want to buy an extra yard, you can, because the width of the fabric doesn't change.
Yeah. And also, if it's your first jacket or if you're using dead stock, I always buy a little extra because
Es-
I always make a
Especially
mistake.
dead stock. Yeah, especially dead stock, because after that, you're not gonna be able to get that no more.
Yeah.
Once it's
So I
gone, it's
always buy a little extra. Like I was about to have to redo my collar last night. We saved the day, but
gone.
yeah.
Y'all should have seen Shamira's face. Like, she was like this.
Alright, it ain't going it
Yeah, I
don't
didn't
fit.
want to laugh because I didn't want to laugh because you'd have tossed that. She was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to throw this thing out." She had that look on her face. Yeah, you just be like, "I'm not doing this." I said, "Come on, Shamir." She said, "I can take the collar off. I'll take it off."
I was like, "I think I got enough fat. I got some scraps. We'll see. I might come up with collar."
But she did it.
We figured it out. There we go. Also, ooh, friendly reminder, I saw a lot of stuff in the chat about people asking about fabric and pattern options. Please read the materials list. We did put suggested fabrics in there. We put fabrics that we don't suggest in there. And then if you want to get fabrics that's not on the list, just beware if you're using something with a lot of polyester, it's hard to mold that. Also, you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of money on this jacket. You don't want to cheap out on materials and have like couture insides with Zara fabric on the outside. Okay, so just think about all of those things when you're picking your fabric. It is an investment. We
More
understand
like
that, but
Zara. We tell about rainbow. Y'all stay away from rainbow.
rainbow, all of that stuff that you just it's gonna misshapen and stuff like that because fabrics, you could do the work on the inside, but if the fabric is trash, it
Then
still, it can still
you're
do
not going to
things
be
that.
happy with, yeah, you're not going to be happy with all the time that you spend. We want you to make something that you are going to wear.
Yeah. And not be frustrated with when you're doing all that pressing and molding and it's not working. Those synthetic fabrics, they just don't behave the same way.
All
Trust
right.
me. Um, or if you did something with a lot of cotton and it's all wrinkly all the time, every time you turn around and you're trying to press another wrinkle out, you don't want to do all that. So get you some wool or at least a wool blend, unless you're doing the fancy brocades and stuff. But yeah, get you something, get you something nice. It doesn't even have to be the highest grade. It don't have to be cashmere or nothing like that. Just consider that. Like, I don't know what this is, but this stuff be wrinkling.
About you. It's all about you. This is the selfish jacket.
Hey, Joseph. Okay, Adele said, "Are you going to hand sew the interfacing on the muslin for practice?" No.
No. Yeah, no. The muslin is strictly for fit.
You was torn between wool or linen. I mean, in I would do linen in Florida because you'll be more
Right.
likely to wear it. You're never gonna wear that wool coat down there. Only when
No.
you're on vacation
If
somewhere
you,
cold.
yeah. Is it a coat or is it a coat or
I
is it
mean,
jacket?
jacket. She's talking about her fabric. I would go with linen.
Yeah. You can do linen. You could do wool twill, or you could do gabardine. Those are lighter weights, wools. Or you can do linen. Linen is fine. We can make a linen blazer and it can be padded out and everything. Still come out nice.
I would do when you do a darker linen though, like navy, black, if you're gonna do all the padding and stuff. Because white, you can see right through that.
Yeah, you'll be able to see right through 'em. Red.
What am I hand stitching? Um, is it Adele or Adelaide? I
Adele.
am doing a jacket that has a pattern in it. We do not recommend this, but I had already cut this out 2 years ago, so I'm kind of using this as my like muslin, but it's not really muslin, it's a real jacket.
Oh
But
man.
I'm hand stitching my stripes across the seam to make sure they match up so that they don't shift in the machine. So that's what I'm doing right now. It's quicker than going over and over the machine trying to get it right. I actually think there's a little trick with the machine. You have to actually start them off centered first, but I don't know the trick. So
Gabardine is a tool, Risha. It's a weave. So when you hear different things like wool crepe, wool twill, wool gabardine, those are the weaves of the fabric. So wool gabardine is kind of on a gabardine weave, looks almost like a soft chevron or a bunch of rolls, like rolled chevron. That's the weave of wool. And usually the gabardine is tight, and so it's lighter. The weight of the wool is lighter. Wool crepe is a little heavier. Um it's good for like an office environment, but when you get outside, you're going to want to take that off.
Karen, no, and Kara, one, it's going to be hard to pick up those little threads because it's very, very tightly woven, especially if it has that wax on it. And two, it's cotton. Cotton is one of the fabrics that we suggest you do not use for this project. So,
Right.
no, and Kara, if you want to use Ankara for your mock-up, go off.
You
Hey,
can.
Miss.
And
Hey, Miss Stoney.
if you feel like you are an experienced sewer and you've done several blazers, then you can go ahead and try Ankara. But if this is your second or third blazer, I don't recommend that you use that fabric. You need a little bit more skill with cottons because you have to know how to pick up threads when you're hand sewing. And so if you're sewing Ankara is considered a medium weight cotton. The ones with the wax are medium to heavyweight. Um, if you don't know how to pick up thread, you're gonna have a wrinkled mess. So unless you've done in Ankara, if you've done 9 or 10 blazers for other people or whatever, then you can go ahead and give it a whirl. Other than that, then stay away from it until you learn the basics or the techniques of tailoring a blazer. Um, I cut the wrong piece. The side piece, there's two side pieces. Usually it's only one side piece. Why I got to be bothered with two. And I had a 50-50 chance to cut the right piece, and I got an F.
You cut the wrong one.
I cut the wrong one. Hey, Stoney.
But you cut the wrong size.
No assignment for this week, but since you came in later, Dale, what we're doing is we're cutting out our pattern. And just making sure we're cutting it out on the right size. So we're just cutting the paper right now, and we're getting ready for muslin. Once you get your paper cut out, you can go ahead and cut your muslin. You can cut your muslin. Upper sleeve A B cut to size 22. I'm looking for the under collar, the side piece. Wait a minute, maybe I did cut it. I did. You know that? Oh no, that's the undersleeve. Side. I did cut it. Side A and B. I just cut both of them. That's what I did. Instead of cutting one, I cut them both out. Tony, are you joining us for the blazer so along? You certainly should be joining us. But I'm asking. Mhm.
Bye, Yvette. All right. We'll be here for about 24 minutes. So make sure you get your questions in the chat if you have any. If you're here and you're interested in joining us and you're not in the group chat, go ahead and send me or Miss Carol a DM so we can get you in the chat and you can get all the information and resources. You can also join Miss Carol's Sewing Corner. It's called Carol Sewing Corner on Facebook.
Mhm.
Um, I will not be dropping information there as much, but Auntie Carol, that's your responsibility to drop to drop the information over there if people want to join. So if you don't have Instagram and you do have Facebook, make sure you're over there. Uh, we won't be using TikTok very much. So
Right. Probably not at all.
yeah. Mhm.
And then if you get in the Instagram group um, called Let's Get Bespoke, that is where I will be posting the Zoom links.
Okay.
So make sure you are in the Let's Get Bespoke group so you will have access to the Zoom link.
All right. Let me sell this. Push, push. This equal.
50, I know a few. Some people are using the Palmer Pletch blazer from McCall's. It's a unisex blazer. There's a man on the front and a lady. So what we're requiring is that you have a peak lapel. You're going to learn how to do peak lapels and collars. We're going to pad stitch, roll line, the collar, the lapels. We're going to air canvas the front. We're going to shoulder pad and sleeve head the sleeve and learn how to correctly set in a sleeve. We're going to learn alterations. So we're going to be doing everything, lots of hand tailoring, tailoring tacks. We're going to do the complete um, we're going to do the complete tailoring to these jackets. It's happening. Am I frozen?
Um, let's see. Is something happening with your live? Um, I'm not sure. You were fine for me. Finally found the one Auntie Carol. They had one left. Yes, here's the pattern envelope. It has two ladies on it. View A, view B. The only difference is the collar. One collar is a contrast collar. The other is just all solid. You're welcome to do fancy things fabric wise with your collar, upper collar at least. Oh, she said you keep stalling and freezing. Am I freezing or just Auntie Carol?
I think it might be YouTube.
Oh,
Because
YouTube is
I'm
bitchy.
seeing you with no problem.
Yes, Sony, you can still join. So if you're on Instagram, make sure you send me a DM on Instagram so I have your handle and I can add you. Okay, it's just you. And I can add you to the group. So in the group, you'll find a link with all of the resources or materials that you need. You need your tailoring book. So we've recommended Reader's Digest. What's it called?
The book, Reader's Digest. Do you want me to go get it? I don't know the name of
Yeah,
it. I just know it's Reader's
I
Digest.
know the Reader Digest one. There's a Vogue one, and then there is the Taylor one that is by Simplicity. It doesn't say Simplicity, but if you have like a really, really old version, you'll know that this is the same book that Simplicity produced. But this one is kind of like a fast reference book. But the other two get more into the details of the tailoring technique. So, first week of homework is to review the hand stitches, the different types, get familiar with them, get your muslin together. So, pick your pattern, cut it out. Yeah, there you go. Complete guide to sewing. That's the Reader Digest one. And take your measurements. So we're asking for a bust, a waist, a hip, and a bicep. Yep, and that's an old one. You can get these books on Amazon, maybe your local
Mhm.
bookstore. I have created an Amazon storefront and it has all these things in here. So people asking about hair canvas, it's on there. You can have it
You
delivered
might
to
be
your
able to find
doorstep.
this one at the library, but it's usually checked out.
Yeah, so you can get those materials on Amazon. You don't have to go all around the city looking for them. I've already made it easy for you all. So there's that. So right now we're working on our muslins and or prepping our patterns. The
Ripping a
first
pattern.
Zoom,
Right. We're gonna
first
cut these
Zoom,
back.
yeah, the first Zoom will be coming up maybe next week. Me and Carol, we got to get together and come up with a date time that works. But during that, we'll be talking about fit issues. So before you come to the Zoom, you need to go ahead and take the pattern as is, put it together, the pieces, the front, the back, a sleeve, just one sleeve. So
Mhm.
basically, this here's mine. Got my fronts and my backs, connect them at the shoulder and attach a sleeve. You need that already done so that you can make an assessment. My sleeve is too tight, my jacket is too long, I need a sway back. My torso is short with the line, depending on what your jacket is all the way down here. I need to raise my waist, my shoulders slope forward. All of that stuff you won't know until you do the
Until
muslin.
you make your muslin. If you have a side connector or a side piece, cut that out too, because we need to make sure that we join in the front to the back.
Yeah.
And with the
So
side connector, yeah, and the
this one has
sleeve.
a side panel.
So yeah, if you just have a jacket that has a front and a back, that's fine as long as we get one complete side. But if you have a side um, piece, if you have a side piece, then you need to pull out and add her.
Yeah, and you need to go ahead and put all your darts in there. People ask about darts. You don't need to worry about pockets right now or any of those like fine details in the jacket. You just
Right,
need the base, the shell of it complete. You don't need a lining. You need to put your markings on here. And so you need to come to class with your questions. So you can say, oh, I think it's a perfect fit. I'm ready to go. Great. Or you can say, I'm having these issues. What do I do? If you
right.
already have standard adjustments that you already make to your patterns because you're very seasoned and you know you need these things, go ahead and make those adjustments to your pattern before you put your muslin together. And then you could do another check with the muslin just to make sure before you cut into that very expensive, beautiful fabric that you'll be working with. So, those are my suggestions. Come with your questions. It's a working session, the Zoom call. But if
And
you don't
yes, we
know
will
what
be
you
doing,
don't know, it won't be that productive for you.
and we're gonna be doing multiple muslins if you need to. We're not cutting into any fabric until your muslin is fitting you. like you like it to fit. Because when we cut into the fashion fabric, it's going to perform a little bit different because it's a different type of fabric, but the tweaking that you're going to have to do is minimal. We're not going to be having to do this. You can't get your bust in. You can't do. It'll literally be, well, you know what? Let me take it in like a quarter of an inch on the front, or maybe my dart needs to be let out just a little bit. Those are the final tweaks that we'll be making. Well, maybe the shoulder's falling forward just a little bit. I need to cut a little bit of the shoulder off to bring it up. Those are going to be the small tweaks that we're going to be making. The major tweaks are going to be made to the muslin.
Mhm. The lapel should be connected to your front piece.
Right.
This is the lapel. I cut mine. If you're looking at mine, I cut mine because I modified it to be um a notch lapel instead of a peak lapel for this particular one. So that's why mine is gone. But your pattern should already have it on there. Well, my lapel is here, but it doesn't look like the pattern piece because I have modified it. I put interface on this because Sonny, this is not really a mock-up. This is an actual jacket, but it's done using fast tailoring. As you can see, we did all the glue interfacing. So I'm using it as my mock-up, quote unquote. Make any adjustments I need to here, or I can see where I need adjustments if necessary before I cut into the more expensive fabric. So I'm treating this as a real jacket. So it does have interfacing. You don't need interfacing for your mock-up, for your muslin. Yeah. On this jacket, I got a couple things because again, this is just like whatever I got in the thing. So I got some SF 101, do not recommend, and I got the weft interfacing, and this is what we're recommending. Again, it is all in your materials list. Adhere to the materials list. Or you could go back and watch the first YouTube from last Sunday. We go through all of this in really big detail. We show you all the items, what they look like, what they're used for, things you could substitute out. But you should be buying this weft interfacing for your jackets, not this. Not this.
And
It's
do
okay. This is
not
fine.
deviate. I don't want anybody deviating from the list. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add this. I'm not gonna do this. I don't have it. Don't deviate, because if you deviate, you may be substituting something that cannot be substituted or switched out. If you need to, let me know first, and then I'll let you know if it's okay. Just like I was gonna substitute 100% cotton canvas for hair canvas, and I found out it's not a good idea, so I'm not gonna do it. And I'm telling you guys, don't do it. So make sure you run it by me before you make a change, because I don't want you to be sorry that you spent all this time and that one little piece of information or the one little change that you thought would be okay to make doesn't work out. Because we all know what it is like to work on something and it's not successful. It's very frustrating when you got to literally trash a project. And since we are investing a lot of time on this, um, don't deviate from the list. Let me know uh, if you want to make a change. I will certainly tell you if it's okay or if it's not okay. You can use on interfacing, no steam though. I don't recommend steam.
Which canvas to get? You're gonna get the hair canvas, the lightweight. It's on the list, Miss Stoney. We'll add you to the group so you can get the list. We left nothing to mystery. Everything you need is there, but here is what you need: hair canvas, lightweight canvas. And let's see. Yvette, here's what your front piece should look like. They all look like this. You never have to add this. This is always on there. So this is what we call a lapel, this piece right here. It should already be on there. You don't need a collar, so if you're asking about the collar, which goes in here, you don't need that, but you should already have a lapel on your jacket. And you'll need that because you'll need to know where the roll line is to make sure that you can actually the buttons are gonna line up where they're supposed to. So
Right. And if you have, remember I said earlier, if you are using a simplicity pattern um, that requires you to cut two of a collar, I want you to add that to your muslin. If you're making a simplicity jacket, add that collar to your muslin. Because I saw some people doing the Palmer Pledge unisex jacket. That
mhm.
one has two piece collar. We want to make that simplicity collar a a three-piece collar combo. One piece for the upper collar, two pieces for the under collar. Add that to your muslin if you are doing a simplicity jacket.
So if you have to split your bottom, remember you have to add in a seam allowance, okay?
Right.
So if you do it, you're like, it's little, it's because you have to go back and put the seam allowance back into it. There's no dot on here. Is it the dot for this? Must be.
If Butterick usually has the collar cut on the under collar. If you have a Butterick pattern and you have one collar, add that to your muslin. Please see my question above. Do we need both hair canvas and weft? No. Canvas, yes.
Yes.
I'm
They're
sorry.
they're different things.
They're different, right?
The canvas is for shaping, and then the weft is for stabilization.
Right. We'll be using the
Can and
weft
it
on the sleeves.
yes, Renita, you can find all of this stuff at Fine Fabrics. All right.
This is weft interfacing, and this is hair canvas. See how they're different?
Oh, okay, yes, Joseph. If you send me a DM, I'll respond. Yeah. And I actually have the tailoring book electronically, so I can actually email you that one if you want
Oh,
to
cool.
have this one on your phone. So guys, I did put this in the Google
Yeah,
Drive, so
I
you
did
have
see that.
access to this electronically if you don't have your books yet and you want to start reading about some of the things. It talks about the patch pockets and how to put them on invisibly. It talks about the different types of interfacing. It talks about how you do hair canvas, what you use it for, how to patch stitch the different types of things. All that stuff that we're talking about is in this book. You could go
In the
ahead and
book.
do a quick read, and then you could get your other reference book for your more detailed fit issues, uh, more detailed instructions on how to do the pass stitching. Because this one kind of like tells you like, oh, you go at a diagonal, but it doesn't go into like super, super detail.
Doesn't go into super detail. And one thing that's really good about that tailoring book is that for those of you that are visual learners, there's a lot of really good pictures in there that kind of explain the process. And if you're not able to visualize it, they have good pictures in there.
Also, read your instructions. While we would be doing like some extra stuff to the innards, the basic kind of construction of a jacket can be found here.
In
If you
the
never put
instructions.
one together, get real comfortable with these instructions, make notes to it. If something's confusing, bring those questions to the Zoom calls, right? So you can ask. Because we want you to be doing this outside of the Zoom. Don't come to the Zoom and having and you're like, "Oh, I'm just not putting my muslin together." No, come to the Zoom with the muslin and questions so you can actually be productive. We're not gonna be here every step of the way for you to sew. You're gonna have to do some of the sewing and stuff on your own. So it's best for you to do what you can, and then when you have the opportunity, bring the questions to the lessons.
To the lessons, right? Independent. You got to make your jacket. We're not here to make it for you. We're here to help you through the process and to show you the things that you don't know. But it's up to you to keep this self paced, but take your time. That's what the documenting is for. So you can actually see your process.
You can also draw pictures in here. I kept a similar journal when I was going through my pole journey, and I would actually draw the tricks because people say names. I'm like, I don't remember what that is. But if I draw a little figurine on the pole doing something, then I'm like, okay, yes, I remember. So if you need to make visual notes for yourself, it's your notebook. Use it how you learn best.
Hmm.
Um, if you need to remember what a bicep adjustment looks like, draw a sleeve and draw your larks and put I go down 5 inches on this side and whatever markings you need to make it make sense for you if you have to come back to it 2 weeks later. All right. So use this. Brooklyn Timmy, it's the Reader's Digest,
Complete guide to sewing.
and then it's the Vogue sewing book. Is that what it's
The
called?
vote.
There you go. And Brooklyn Timmy, it's on the list. If I take my time and spend hours putting together lists and links and things for you guys better use it. Like we're repeating ourselves a lot here. I literally put it all on the list. I really don't. And y'all was like, make sure you do the list, make sure you do the list. I was like, I will put the list up tonight. And I kept my word. So you guys better reference the list. Hey Amber. All right, guys, we got about 3 more minutes together before we wrap up this live. If you got any last minute questions, please throw them in there. But again, if you haven't already, send us a DM so we can get you in the chat. In the chat, you have access to a Google Drive, which has your list. It has an electronic version of this book. It also has a fit guide in there by Vicky Sells. Vicky Sells does a really good job of explaining fit issues and how to fix them. So if you start your muslin and you notice things immediately, reference that book. It's always good to come with something where you're like, okay, I saw this, I tried it, it didn't work, or I didn't really understand what she was saying. And then it helps Auntie Carol help identify how to best help you learn
Right.
what you need to do.
What you need to do.
That's why we ask you to read the hand stitches because there's a lot of different hand stitches. So if she say do a catch stitch, at least you're like, what? I've never heard of a catch stitch. You've heard of it. You might not remember what it is, and you have your book to reference it, but you're not coming in green. So please use the books. Please check the list. Please do your homework. Use the resources we've given you. Thanks, Amber. eBay has the book, Cindy said. When I sent it at 11 p.m. It's a live list, so you can always refer back to it. You can screenshot it and have it on your phone,
I
so you
just
don't
have
have to
this
keep
so
going
happy.
to the Google link.
Here's the hair canvas
Hmm.
for Amber. And this is weft. This is weft interfacing. This is what it looks like.
Yes. Mm-mm-mm.
And so today, go somewhere and get you a little journal or one of those little books from Walmart that you can write in. You got to have your journal. The
Yeah.
Instagram group is called Let's Get Bespoke. You can DM me or Shamir. I'm Auntie 2001, Shamir Shemsos on Instagram, and we'll add you to the group.
Yes. It's not a channel, so you can't just search it and add yourself.
Yeah,
I
we
opted
have to
for a
add
group.
you.
Yeah, I opted for a group so we can have more collaborative conversation. In a channel, I have to lead everything and you can only respond to prompts. So that's not really real time. So we did a group. All right. All right. Well, any final words, Auntie Carol, before we wrap up? We're right at 1:30.
No final words. Maybe I'll go live on YouTube for a few while I'm still working on mine.
Okay.
Um and then maybe for another 30 minutes, and then if you guys want to join me over at Carol Sewing Corner, I'll go live. I'm still cutting out my pattern. I still got a few more pieces to go, and then at 1 o'clock it's CST. I'm gonna go ahead and end the live.
All
Okay.
right. All
All
right.
right, so
So
30
you can go
minutes you
to
guys
Auntie
can come
Carol.
over.
All right. I'll be over there.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.